All right, fellas, we're going to start. So, guys, all right, welcome to today's Step and Sem session. We got a few new faces here, so welcome, guys. So before we go into the session for today, just a few quick little announcements of exciting stuff that's coming with the Step and Sem organization. Yeah, woo! So, first of all, for the collégiens here, I'm not sure what class exactly, but I think it's 4e and perhaps 3e, 5e. We have in mid-May, we're going to have a conference specifically catered for you guys, okay? So we're going to explain what Step and Sem is, what work we do in all our different branches. And, hopefully, have some of your friends that are interested in these topics come join, check it out, essentially. That's the first one. The second conference we're going to have is on the 31st of May, only for seconde, which is going to be, actually, you'll see exactly what it's going to be about, but it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be for all the seconde, the whole promo. And we've got a lot of interesting speakers coming up, so it's going to be very fun. Yeah?
31st of May, we're not here.
What do you mean?
We're in London.
Yeah, it's the, whatever. Yeah, figure it out. And the third conference, we're having a little conference marathon here, is a few days after, on the 3rd of June, which is, I believe, for anybody, which is from 4:15 to 6 o'clock on the poli-sci conference schedule. And it's going to be, as I said, anybody can register. And once again, we've got a very interesting lineup of professors and speakers coming up, so stay tuned for that, especially your social media team should promote that especially. Great. All right, now that's out of the way. In typical Step and Sem fashion, guys, what is evolution? What's that about? Yeah.
Adaptation of living things.
Okay. Adaptation, yeah. Adaptability, yeah.
Mutations of genes in a positive way.
Mutations, yeah.
Throughout time?
Absolutely.
Is there time involved?
Yeah. Time is involved. Yeah.
Certain genes are selected or natural or better and therefore faster.
Okay, yeah, better. That word better here. Let's continue on that, yeah.
Survival of the fittest.
Survival of the fittest, better, fittest. There's a theme here, yeah.
Adapting.
Okay, we said adapting, yeah. Yeah?
Something changing in time.
Changing in time, absolutely.
Organisms evolving
Yes.
to adapt to their environment.
Okay, so we got this idea of adaptation. Oh, hello, Ava. Yes, Elena.
The strongest survive.
Yes, strongest. So we have this theme, like better, fittest, stronger. What does this image even represent here?
Just fighting. Two males in a set fighting.
Okay, fighting, better, fittest. What does that conjure up? Yeah.
They fight each other for resources.
Okay, but yeah, what is
The
it?
strongest survive.
Yes, absolutely. But what does it represent? Yeah.
It represents the survival of the
Okay, survival of the fittest.
In this case, they're fighting for a female.
Right, they're fighting against each other. Okay, we're getting closer. Fighting against each other. What's another way to say that? Competing, which is competition. Thank you. Competition, guys. Now, what is the biggest competition you see today in the world?
Money.
Money, Olympics,
Politics.
politics. Let's be more precise here. Yeah.
How many nuclear missiles an army
A
has?
competition to get higher up in the social hierarchy.
Okay, so there's social hierarchy.
Social
Economic.
competition. So
Okay, economic. Okay, let's.
races.
Sure. Yeah.
Influences.
Influence. Yes.
Militaries.
Military. Yeah, we're getting closer.
Power.
Power. Absolutely. You know that's a buzzword that works. Yeah.
number of
Guns. Military power.
No, not
All right,
that. Economical.
Economic. Absolutely. We're really close here. Now I want proper nouns. I want an actual concrete example of this competition in action today.
Resources.
Yeah, but yeah.
War.
War between who? Between
The
what?
fight for cobalt, for example.
Okay, that's an example. That's good.
Well, U.S. versus Russia.
So close.
Or Russia versus Ukraine.
No.
The Cold War type of stuff.
Okay, we're getting closer.
Conflict?
But today, not 30 years ago. Today.
No, still today.
World Cup.
It's like China. Like
Hang on. Angus Piper, say that louder, my
The
friend.
United States of America versus the People's Republic of China.
Indeed. All right. America versus China. Now, who? Yeah, I mean that's essentially the basis that we're going to go off of. So today, we'll be diving precisely into this really the greatest competition on humanity's stage today, which is, drumroll please, the Washington and the Beijing consensus. The competition here is key. Absolutely. Color-coded, yeah, I did. So, all right, what could this mean? What is this? What am I talking about?
The conflict of two superpowers trying to essentially become the main superpower.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's an attempt at destroying the influence China has in American soil,
Right.
and inversely.
Okay, fair.
Both sides trying to get more of an influence on the international market.
Spot on. Now, does anybody remember, I'm talking more specifically perhaps to the older senior members here, of one of the first Step in Step conference.
Nationalization?
Close. Oh, much earlier actually. Thucydides' trap. That ring a bell? Thucydides' trap. Okay, well, it was, so I'm going to say in brief because it's very, very linked to what we're talking about today. And I highly suggest you check it out on the website. Personally, maybe my favorite Step in the Step session we've ever done because it was very interesting. It's basically, I don't know about Thucydides. Does that ring a bell or no? Thucydides. Thucydides. Thucydides in ancient Greek. Why am I saying in ancient Greek? Because, no?
He was Roman.
No, I'm surprised you don't know about Thucydides. The Peloponnesian War. Does that ring a bell?
Yes.
Yeah? What is it?
Actually, in history geography. It
Yeah?
went between Athens islands and Sparta were fighting to have
Yeah.
power, and so that people discovered Sparta
Yeah.
held Athens through
The Peloponnesian War.
no, the other one just before.
Oh, the Persian War. Yeah.
Yes.
The Greco-Persian War. Absolutely. Spot on. So, Thucydides. I'm just doing a very quick refresher here because it's a key concept today. Thucydides' trap. So, it was, Thucydides, he had this quote. It was the rise of Athens and the fear this instilled in Sparta that made war inevitable. Now, that was the case 2,000 years ago. But there's this great Harvard professor called Graham Allison, okay, and he theorized Thucydides' trap. He was saying Thucydides said this 2,000 years ago, referencing the Peloponnesian War, but actually, well, today, and in the last few hundred years, we've seen this all the time. The rise of one against another. So it's basically a rising power versus a ruling power. Rising versus ruling. Yeah.
Because it activates fear, and when people have fear, it activates fight-or-flight system and fight-or-flight response, and they want to fight against each other because they want to prove that they're superior.
Yeah, and they need to. It happens. So he found that actually on the 16 last cases, for the last 500 years, 12 have ended in war. 12 of the 16. Not a good ratio. Not a good ratio for war. So, anyway, so Thucydides' trap. Today, it's most commonly applied to U.S., China, okay? Now, you still haven't told me what the words here mean. All right, let's go one by one. Washington. USA. Yeah. Okay. Beijing.
China.
But what's this third word here? Consensus. What does that mean?
Agreement?
Accord?
Yeah, okay. Any, yeah?
Two nations come together to agree on a certain topic.
Okay, so it's Washington consensus versus the Beijing consensus. So that could be true, but each one has their own consensus. Yeah.
So a consensus usually sets definitions and rules and
Right.
actions that a country is going to take.
Yeah.
So here, as the title suggests, the two consensuses are going to fight against each other. They state different things, and they're trying to overtake one another.
Absolutely.
So now we're going to look into the details.
Absolutely. Actually, consensuses, consensi, I don't know. I've got no idea. Consensus, whatever. So, it is the fight between these two consensuses. And in particular, what is it? Look it up.
Consensus.
Keep me updated on that. So, okay. All you said is true, but it's actually in a more specific front, which is, what's the main stage, the main arena for this battle?
Economy?
Yeah, economics. So it's the consensus of each country in economics. Now, let's move on to, yeah. What is it? Consensus. Oh, it's just the same. Okay, the two consensus. So, Washington consensus. Now, I'm not making this up. There's 8 key points. to the Washington Consensus. Let's try and find them, like a little treasure hunt, okay? So, throw some stuff at me. What characterizes the Washington economy?
Free market.
Free market, great. So, what does that mean? Tell me more about it.
The liberty of the freedom of people to purchase by their own volition.
Right, so that's the main one. But we can actually divide...
Private owners.
Yeah, we can actually divide free market into subcategories, which is...
Private owners.
Yeah, private ownership. Okay, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all good. Yeah, so free market, what does that mean? So I'll give you the first one, okay? There's this notion of liberalization. Liberalization. Get what that means? Or?
Yeah.
So yeah, liberalization means the ization, so the making of it more liberal, right? So in particular, it's of what we call FDI. You know what FDI means?
Freedom,
FDI.
democracy, intelligence.
Yeah.
Freedom of Development International.
No, it's actually foreign direct investment. The investment of foreign countries directly into your economy to pump it up, essentially.
And then also
So, the U.S. and Washington Consensus, they encourage these open policies towards FDI. See, they're saying we want to attract external capital, right, and expertise to actually make our productivity on, domestic lands better, to make us more powerful, to add more jobs, things like that, right? So the goal is to take these local economies and actually integrate them into the global network more easily. Okay? So that's the first one, liberalization. Now, liberalization, you also have it in trade. Very similar, right? But it's basically, you have these imports, okay, from other countries. Usually these imports have restrictions. Actually, with Trump, for example, he put a lot of restrictions on Chinese imports, put huge taxes to say, China, careful what you do. We don't want you getting all your stuff up in here. No, okay, we want our own sovereignty. What liberalization means here is saying, you know what? No, we don't want restrictions on importation. No, we want to make it easier. We want to make us more open, more accessible to global trade. Okay? So that's trade liberalization. It means more growth, okay? It means more domestic industries that can flourish on a bigger stage. Essentially. Now, what could another point be? We've got two for now. Think about the first word of today's session. What was it?
evolution.
Okay, no, yeah. What was the big word?
What is it?
Competition.
Yeah, competition. Exactly. Those are
How
fire
do you go
today.
from
Yeah, nice.
consensus from evolution to consensus?
That's the beauty of stepping stone. We're going from the very different to the very specific. So, competition is the basis of evolution. What's the biggest competition today? Washington versus Beijing. Very simple. So this notion of competition, well, we have it in these economies. So in the Washington Consensus, there's this competitive market, competitive, particular exchange rates. Does anyone know what an exchange rate is? Yeah.
Would you exchange things?
Pretty much.
Would you exchange things?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
$1 to a euro, the exchange rate.
Exactly.
Yeah,
The exchange rate.
If I give one of these, how much will you give me back?
Yeah, exactly. And one of these, usually these are the currencies.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So they want competitive exchange rate. They want to say the dollar is up here. The dollar's power to the Washington Consensus. Now, deregulation of what?
Market.
The market. What does that mean, though? When a market is deregulated, what does it mean?
Lower. I mean,
Yeah.
No more economy?
It means that the rate
No.
of exchange
More
is not
diversity
good.
into markets.
More, sorry?
Diversity.
Yeah, more diversity.
Less government intervention, so the market has its own freedom to do whatever it wants.
Exactly. Everyone heard that? Less government intervention. That's the free market it's about. It's about deregulation. It's saying the market is an independent entity. I'm the government, I won't touch it. Or the least I can. I won't touch it. Yeah, okay, Tim.
Well, of course.
Depends when, okay? In times of crises, you gotta intervene. But as a general consensus, I won't touch it. I'll leave it, like the animal in evolution. I'll just leave it evolve, play its course. Okay. Great. Yeah, thank you. Now, what else is there? We're missing three more. We actually mentioned one. What's the big one when you think free market?
Diversity.
Yeah, but you think of less taxes. Less taxes.
Subsidized.
Yeah. So yeah, it means basically you have this tax reform. Okay? So in the past, 500 years ago, in all the royal kingdoms, you had a lot of taxes. You had to pay, what is it, tithe or something? I forgot. But
I guess the church.
tithes to the church, okay, whatever. But you had to pay taxes to those in power. Now, the goal of the Washington Consensus is saying, we don't want much of that. We want the market to play its course, right? Isn't that right? Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That benefits them.
Yeah, all right. And we got two more. Two more. So, I want you guys to find these two more. First one, I'll give you a little hint. When you think of the government, what do you think about? What is the government? Okay, man. There. Getting political. What do you say?
Name me one democratic,
All right, let's
one
not.
democratic country that doesn't have corruption.
President, absolutely. Nice to meet you.
No,
What else? Though? What do they do? What does the government do?
They make laws.
Laws.
Management.
Yeah. What do you think of? Okay, we'll go even further. A government is part of politics.
Yes.
Politics. Is that the word?
Poly.
Yeah. No, not the same one. Policies. They make policies. The government makes policies. Now, what are these policies about, usually? In economics, I'm talking about. Any ideas? If you're the government, yeah, exactly. But imagine you go to the supermarket, okay, and you have your money. You're gonna it with it. You're gonna do something with your money. Okay? Use it. You're gonna spend it. Yeah. Now, you're a private individual, so you have private spending. But as a government, you're a public individual. So, private spending, public spending. Perfect. So the government works on public spending. So what is the Washington Consensus regarding public spending? What is it? What do they say?
People can do what they want.
Yeah, it's going to be more, we're going to take away from these, like inefficient expenditures, right? And we're going to actually do things that boost the economy right up, basically. Obama. Anyway, okay, and the last one is just more generally, we talked about policy and economics. Fiscal policy is another way to put it. And it's a notion of discipline. You see, it's saying we have this money, okay? We don't have more, we don't have less. We have a budget, okay? And we're going to need to stick to that budget. We're going to need to be disciplined, all right? Same with you and I. If you head into a store and you want to buy all this stuff, well, if you have a budget, you can't go more than that, okay? So that's what it means, generally the Washington Consensus is saying we're going to set a budget and we're going to be disciplined with that fiscal policy. We're not going to throw money here and there and $1 billion and $10 billion. We're going to be disciplined. Now, obviously there's exceptions to the rule. I hear Tamor. But yeah, those are I saw your face about whatever. No, it's true. So great. Now, can someone summarize very briefly what the Washington Consensus even is about? What is it? Yeah.
To create a free market that supports a business
Yes.
that lowers taxes
Right.
and has minimum regulation to allow people to spend their money on what they want.
Yeah.
To create a more evolutionary competitive market.
Spot on. Essentially, it's that. Did everyone hear that? Essentially. Great. So, we talked about the Washington Consensus. What's the second part? The Beijing Consensus. Who does Chinese here? Yeah? Great. Oh.
But I'm new.
I'm kidding. I know.
What did you say?
Timur, you don't do Chinese?
I do try.
Oh, okay. Great. So, just try to guess what the Washington Consensus even is about, guys. What could it be? Beijing.
Taxes,
Government.
no freedom, authoritarian, regulating everything except corruption.
Government.
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. So, you talked about reform. What does this reform look like? Is it big reform
Big government.
or small reform?
Big reform.
Big reform. Now, how do you get to that big reform? Is it just taking one giant leap or one small step?
Big leap
One
forward.
step at a time.
Oh, nice one. One step at a time. Nice one. One step at a time. It is more so one step at a time. The big leap forward is different, but you're great. Sorry, it's incremental. Okay, so it's what we call incremental policy, or incremental political reform. Okay, so in certain Western models, when you don't have a lot of intervention, but when you do, it's huge. Okay, can anyone give me an example of times in the West where we have a big intervention? Yeah.
Cuban Missile Crisis.
Different
big
Korean War.
military
Different.
movement.
That's military intervention.
Yeah, that's military. We're talking about economic, but it's true. It's true.
Economical intervention?
Yeah,
2008 housing crisis. We intervened in State Chrysler.
exactly. Yeah.
During the Great Depression.
Yeah, that was a while back, but absolutely. So what's the theme here? 2008, 1929. Economic crisis.
Boost the economy.
What's the last one we've seen?
2008. I know. I guess it could be 2020.
Yeah, COVID. So, okay, I'm not going to go into the specific technical details, but it's this thing called QE, quantitative easing. Anyway, it's government intervention. So, you have this government intervention. You can look up the graph. It's very easy to find. You have none of it, right? And then huge in the West when there's that crisis. Now, in Beijing, it's not the case. What does it look like now? What would the graph look like?
Constant.
Yeah, it's this incremental thing, or it could be like this, right? So it's incremental. Okay, that's the key difference here. So that's the first one, incremental. What's the second one? Think of China today. Think of China 50 years ago.
Communist.
Okay, what's the difference though? What really, what evolved? You're richer, yeah.
Their capacity to produce.
Absolutely, capacity produced. What is that? What are the big buzzwords in geography or
Population.
population? Yeah, that's a big one. I'm sorry. Demographics, yeah, but
Policy.
Cheap labor.
cheap labor. Okay, big buzzwords.
Exportation.
Policies.
Exportation.
Regulation.
Starts with a D.
Deregulation. No.
No, it's
Cycle.
very easy.
Cycle.
No, very easy. No, D. No way.
Oh, D.
D.
Demographics.
No,
Development.
development, right? We talk about developed countries, developing countries, development. Now, can someone tell me Beijing's development? You said that? Can someone tell me about Beijing's development?
They're developing.
Well, yeah, but what does it look like?
New buildings. New companies.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of modern technology.
Yeah, true.
A hub for innovation and development, advancement in technology, energy production, international relations,
Yeah.
big military.
Absolutely.
Everything. We have a lot of things that come from China.
Yeah. So it's essentially that. A lot of tech, a lot of things like that, basically. A lot of import and export growth. Okay, to fund that development. I mean, everything's made in China, right? They use that money to then develop a lot. Okay, cool. Now we've got two more, which is let's see. When you think of China, when you think of a country, what even is a country? What's the goal of a country? Power. Serve its own interest. Yeah. To
Be strongest.
Yeah, strong sovereignty, independence, okay? To keep this sovereignty and independence. So Beijing consensus, what's super important is to keep this independence, to keep this sovereignty over the lands. Can anyone give me an example, not economic necessarily, but an example of a time when China tried to prove, or is trying to prove, that it has sovereignty over its lands?
South China.
Taiwan.
Taiwan is not a country.
If you go, oh my god.
Yeah, Taiwan. Taiwan. But yeah, go ahead.
If you go back to in history where the clans used to fight against each other, there was one.
It's a while back, but yeah.
That tried to unite everyone, and it worked.
Right.
So
Which one was that?
I don't forgot.
Okay.
The warlords.
Yeah, but the World War. More recently, guys, who said Taiwan? Yeah, great. Taiwan is the obvious one, okay? Also, we could say Hong Kong, right? We could also say Macau, okay? Different areas where China is proving the Beijing consensus, we want our power, we want our independence, we want our sovereignty, right? What's up? Okay, cool. And the last one, pretty similar, but actually it really overarches the whole thing. In a few words, what is the consensus of Beijing? It's
very regulated.
Very regulated, very strong.
Authoritarian.
Export based.
Yeah. That's, yeah. Yeah?
Strict.
Tricked? Oh, strict, absolutely. Strict, strong, it's robust. Okay? A lot of intervention. Okay? A lot of strong states. This whole narrative of the state is strong, the party is strong. There's only one party in charge, right? So, And the party and the state is going to be the one promoting development, solving the internal conflicts, making the country work. Okay? Cool. All right. So we've got the key points here for Beijing consensus, the key points for Washington. So let's see. In one sentence, really keep it in one sentence. Think of your words carefully. I'll give you a few seconds to think about it. Can two people, one, really define what the Beijing consensus is, and one define what the Washington consensus is? Yeah.
I'll do Washington.
Washington? Who wants to define what the Beijing consensus is at the end of the day?
Who defines the consensus? I'll define the...
Great, fantastic. Not pointing fingers, but pointing fingers. Great. So,
Pointing
fingers. Okay, it's an expression. We'll start with Angus. Go ahead.
The Washington consensus is to establish a free market
Free market.
where independent
Independence.
businesses and individuals can use their own capital to invest in a free market.
Perfect.
The Beijing consensus
It's big.
is fundamentally a
Get ready
way
for the
to
political stuff. Go ahead.
a way to develop China's economy
Right.
in an efficient way to improve its GDP,
True.
to assure sovereignty over its lands,
Right.
and it follows concepts and ideas of self-determination
Right.
and non-interfere. And I'm reading.
I knew it. Okay, right. You're trying to make it sound natural.
It sounded too
You
natural.
did sound natural. Okay, that's a
Okay.
good skill to have. Okay, cool. As long as it worked. Great. Now, I got a simple question for you guys. Who wins? Which is better? What was the first word I talked about?
Competition.
Competition. In a competition, there's a winner, there's a loser. Who's the winner? What do you think?
Well, it's still on.
It is. Or in your mind, who do you think should be?
China.
China? All right, why? That's great. We got controversial opinions.
I think
And
You did.
objectively, the
Yeah.
US is incredibly powerful and
Right.
global superpower in economics and so much more stuff.
Right.
However, China, you can see today, nearly every single object you own, it's Chinese. So much of what you own, even when you're not conscious of it, it's Chinese.
True.
So you can see that they have an incredible. The US also has it.
Yeah.
But China has and continues to grow an incredible impact on everyday life for everyday citizens.
Perfectly summarized. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I think that in the near future, there's a lot of companies that are trying to push away from China, Apple that's going to India.
Yeah.
I think Samsung is going back to Korea, and a lot of French companies product now
Yeah.
in France and not in China because of everything you call
Yeah.
Beijing.
Okay. Absolutely. Yeah.
I
Tim.
think the reach that the Chinese consensus, the Beijing consensus. I'm not. Oh my god!
I'm gonna have to do that every time now.
Okay. So, I think that the reach
Yeah.
that the Beijing consensus has provided to China
Mm.
is, and it has achieved its goals. So you
Mhm.
can see currently this current situation of China
Okay.
and how the Beijing consensus has allowed it to reach this situation.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other hand, if you look at how the American consensus affected its country, how the
All right,
American
go ahead.
consensus affected the US,
Say what you want to say, man. Don't sugarcoat
it's
it.
not the best.
Okay, fair
It's
enough.
not the best.
Okay, that's good though. We have different opinions, which is great. Now, your time to shine as usual. So, what we're gonna do is, let's see, we can get into a few groups. We could do like 3 or. Why did it turn off? Shoot. Okay, whatever. We're gonna do a few groups, and I want you guys to get a minute or two and think about your consensus. Okay? He's trying to unite the best of both worlds and make it as best as it could be. Okay? So we can do by tables, whatever you want. Or Elena, you can. Sorry, remind me of your name. Sorry. Sorry, Diane. Yeah. So Diane and Elena, just think about your consensus, what you would want. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Cool.
Only the 4.
combine that with China is like I don't know like all the best sound that they come from China. Yeah, and also even though you have settlers in China, the rules is like
Huge. The US is developed.
Oh, and China still produces.
No, but that's because the US is settled. In a way settled. China has a great margin of development.
The second that the US says, all right, we're not buying any more.
So what do we think? Yeah.
First of all, American prices will rise every day. Higher prices will be paying higher inflation.
Great, fantastic.
The Chinese
So,
companies
the Chinese don't buy the country?
They don't have any. The US doesn't buy it the rest of the world. Even unless you get the entirety of NATO.
Alright.
Yes, if China randomly attacks
What do we think?
if we're China, for example, China invaded Taiwan, the US stop buying Chinese stuff. Potentially, this guy's there. Well, like most
Imagine all the
was it F-15? No, those are 35.
Imagine
Oh, what? I got to Eastern. I got Eastern.
Oh, you went to
I went to, yeah, Berlin. Anyway, sorry.
imagine all the small countries that say they don't have the infrastructure to super developed. Okay, China's
Who
now
buys-
all this free stuff.
Okay.
I don't.
And what if you raise
if
Who
I'm
buys the
investing
most shit?
what?
Who buys the most?
That doesn't.
Who
Alright.
buys most of America? So America needs stuff. If we just take it away right now, it will collapse.
It would raise prices, but it wouldn't collapse the economy.
But other
It would
countries,
raise prices on anything.
other countries would because they do not have the resources.
All right, fellas. Hope you've had some time to think about your consensus. Can we? Who wants to volunteer to go first? All right. What's your country's name?
No. He's not representing our group.
I like to be separatist and lead.
Sure, separatists. We got the Confederate state. Separatist base. Okay. All right. Try to make it 30 seconds, 1 minute. All right, guys, listen up. Okay. What's your consensus look like?
My consensus is liberalize the economy. Following the Washington consensus, I believe incredibly that a free market is the best market. However, in certain times of need, intervention is needed. Not only domestically, but internationally. Tariffs should be raised on other countries that could have massive effects on this nation. The nation of the United States of Angus.
Ah, fantastic. All right, thank you. All right, thank you. Now, can we have, who wants to go next?
United States.
All right, we're going to have Timor-Leste. Come on. Timor-Leste, go.
Stop reading.
Alright, so-
Stop reading.
Ladies and gentlemen, today I present to you our consensus,
Right.
the consensus
What's the
for
nation? What's the
Timoristan.
Our consensus?
My consensus. For this.
Okay.
So, we focus on development of our economy by prioritizing local. What?
Are you reading this off the script on your phone?
No, where do I have my
I see you
phone?
reading. All right.
By promoting the development of local companies
Right.
and fostering a culture of self-development and what's called perseverance.
Okay.
Perseverance. So, the government's we're gonna try to adapt to the needs of the companies. Alright.
All right. Okay.
Bon voilà, we're gonna try to adapt to the needs of the companies and we're gonna try to make the best economy you've ever seen.
Fantastic.
Try to get reach internationally because we're gonna work as a union.
All righty. All right, we have 2 more to go. You want to go first? You want to go?
You can go first.
All right, come on up, Jen. All right, give it up for Jen. What's your country's name? Okay. All right, country. All right. Go ahead. What's your consensus look like?
So we start with the idea of free market, but we like do more productivity,
Okay.
and so that we can produce way more than normal, and we'll have more economy.
Okay. Fantastic. Thank you so much. And last but not least, we have the U.S.
authoritarian.
All right.
The United States of communism.
All right. All right. Go ahead, Ava.
So our consensus is to build an economy that is neither ultra dependent on export nor an import. An economy that is actually balanced. An economy that if one day one country decides never to import or export in their country again, it will not crumble. An economy that's both self-reliant but also actually takes help from others. That knows how to grow but doesn't become dependent.
Fantastic. Thank you. All right. Well, on that note, thank you everybody for this session today, and we'll see you all next week. Have a great day, guys. Thank you.
Next week.
Or-
Yeah, next week.